Welcome to the High Note Podcast. I am your host, Sean Smith. Hey, thank you very much for being here. Whether this is your first time tuning in or you have been here from the beginning, I appreciate you taking this wonderful music journey with me, and I am your conductor on this wonderful adventure, Sean Smith. So we got another wonderful podcast brought to you, connected from my good friend Gary V, another V friend connection from Indianapolis. So if you're not into NFTs, I'm sorry, but this is another amazing Gala music artist, Emily Faye, who comes to us all the way from the United Kingdom. I really enjoy my guests from the United Kingdom. I think that I've had a lot of great guests over the years. I really appreciate all of the artists who have taken their time to tell me their stories and to really talk to me about their process. And it's just been amazing. Every episode, I feel like it's better. I feel like I get better as an interviewer, and hopefully you on the listening end appreciate each episode a little bit more. But yeah, I just have an affinity with my friends over there from across the pond. You know, going back to my interviews with my friends from Talisk in Scotland, even back to ballet and salsa. I wonder what Andreas is up to these days. But I just love my friends from the United Kingdom. But I think that this is another great episode. So Emily Faye is another NFT artist on the Gala music platform who actually performed at VeeCon. She was in a competition, won a competition that got her the opportunity to perform on stage before Jordan Sparks, which was absolutely incredible. It was a really, really, really great experience. I got a chance to meet her very early in the conference. She was one of the first people that I met, her and her fiance, Jay, who goes by Bstract on Twitter. I'm going to link that up in the show notes, but it's like abstract, but Bstract. He's an artist in his own right and a musician as well. And we got to talking in the beginning, so I was rooting from her all the way along, and I actually got a chance to meet with a couple other artists who performed on stage during the competition, and all of them were wonderful. Of course, Shockey was the grand prize winner. He ended up winning and is recording a song with Jordan Sparks if he hasn't done it already. So really awesome experience. But back to Emily Faye. She is a country singer-songwriter. You can find her on all of the social media platforms at Emily Faye, Faye music. And she does a really cool thing on her Instagram, but you can check it out everywhere, called 5 Minute Song Friday. So every Friday she gets a topic submitted to her by people on social media, and she runs with it, writes a song in 5 minutes and puts it up there, which is really awesome. You can also support Emily through the Gala music platform and buy her NFTs, which supports her as an artist. And not to have too much clickbait here. This isn't too much of a cliffhanger, but honestly, the last minute of the podcast is solid gold. Emily just lays out the best, probably the best minute of this podcast ever, which is pretty awesome. So she also has another NFT project called 100 Years of Women, and I will link that also in the show notes, but another really awesome project that is definitely worth supporting and at the very least worth checking out. Again, thank you very much for being here. If you haven't already, please hit the subscribe button on whatever platform you're listening to this on. If you can, leave a review. It helps. It helps other people find it. It helps me get up in the ranks. Maybe, maybe it'll help the listener count a little bit, not that it matters, but I would like this to reach as many people who want to hear it as possible. So please check me out. I'm everywhere at High Note Blog on all of the social medias, including Threads, and I am at highnoteblog.com. So if you're into reading, you can check out highnoteblog.com. I do music reviews every week on Tuesdays, and then on Fridays, New Music Friday, I just put up a list of every album that has come out on Friday, so you can just check it out. You can see if your favorite artist has released an album, or maybe check out a new artist, or see somebody that you just heard of, see that they released an album, and then go on your favorite streaming platform and check them out, or go get the physical copy, or go get an NFT, right? Hey, why not? This is the world we're living in. So much love, and thank you so much to Emily Faye. This really is one of my favorite episodes, and I really hope that everybody's having a great summer. I hope to hear from you in the comments. Please let me know what you thought of this one, and I hope to see you out there on the road. Much love, and thank you again to Emily Faye. Emily Faye, welcome to the High Note Podcast. How are you doing today?
Thank you so much for having me. I am doing good, thank you. The sunshine has brightened up a bit over here in England because it was raining, so I'm very happy about that.
Oh, that's
so yeah,
great.
Good, thank you.
and where are you in England?
So I'm in kind of the middle in Northamptonshire. It's kind of the Midlands, in like a little country village, basically outside of the town. And right now, looking out my window, I can see some beautiful, like, rolling fields. It's a really lovely view. So, yeah, that's where I am currently.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, and we met in Indianapolis at VeeCon, of all places.
Such good times. Such good times. I was just incredible. Yeah, it was wicked. It was great to meet you.
It was so
awesome.
Great to meet you. The entire weekend was just a complete whirlwind. It was too short, I feel like, and I had the best time of my life. Absolutely.
Oh, same as, honestly. It was like, it was literally the best time, the time of our lives. I
thought it was so cool that I met you. Well, we hit it off immediately. I think we were talking about music, and you had mentioned that you were performing at VeeCon, which was absolutely amazing. I didn't even realize that this was a component of VeeCon.
Yeah. I mean, it was an absolute whirlwind for me, to be honest, as well, because it was like maybe 10 days before that I found out that I had won the opportunity to perform at VeeCon, and then they booked all of my flights and everything maybe like the week before I was due to go. So yeah, it was completely and utterly like, you've won this contract and the opportunity to perform at VeeCon, and we're booking your flights in the next week for you, and it's on your 30th birthday. Can you come? And it was just the most wild whirlwind, amazing thing to have happened, and I'm just so grateful for it. And it's really cool that Gary V, partnered with Gala Music to allow emerging artists like myself to have a moment on the stage in front of such a big audience. Just like, I kind of stood up there thinking, oh my goodness, I'm so grateful to be here. The amount of work I had put into this career. This was, it was a defining moment on my 30th birthday and for my career as well. It was a really, really kind of pinnacle defining moment for me. So just so grateful to VeeCon, to Gala, to everyone who voted to get me on that stage. It was just, it was madness. And it was so cool as well, being able to go around and be like, oh, so what brings you to VeeCon, and then being like, oh, I'm actually playing. Like, I couldn't believe it. Every time I told somebody that, I was like, I'm actually playing. What?
I wish I had like a pithier, like, oh, you're with Busta Rhymes then, right?
Yeah, exactly right. And just opening up for Jordan Sparks, like, I can't complain about that at all. Amazing.
She was. I mean, you were incredible too, but I was already a fan of yours before you hit the stage, and I wasn't really I didn't know anything about Jordan Sparks. I was there really for you. I was honestly.
Oh, thank you.
I promised you that I was going to be front row. and screaming as loud as I could, and I was actually front row. I couldn't believe that my friends actually got in and saved me those seats. And I feel like Jay was screaming. Your fiance might have been screaming louder than me.
Oh, bless him. Yeah, it was. Yeah, I mean, yeah, Jordan Sparks was absolutely incredible. I mean, just seeing her sound check was incredible. So one of her songs, One Step at a Time, is literally like the soundtrack to my teenage years.
Aww.
So seeing her perform that, and then she dedicated it to me as well, I was literally like, my 15-year-old self is going insane inside me right now. You know, she's like so fulfilled and so happy that this moment has happened. Yeah, and the audience singing happy birthday, like I had to like get off the stage pretty quick to let the next guys come on, but to let Shocky come on, but I was just literally like so overwhelmed, and it was such a special moment, such a incredible special moment, and really cool that it was the Saturday night as well, because obviously we got to meet so many people at the festival, you know, just, you know, meeting everybody, and because you're constantly networking, aren't you, and meeting new people, and it was just such a good atmosphere, such a good vibe.
Oh yeah,
literally good, wasn't it?
It was absolutely incredible. I mean, it was just great to be able to share that moment with you, you know, to meet you and then sing happy birthday, and to just be like, wow, so this is what we've been talking about all week, right? Like, this is it.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Thank you so much for showing up for me. I really appreciate it.
Oh, well, you got a lot of new fans that week as well.
Oh man, it was incredible. Yeah, I was literally just living in like a dream bubble. I'm still kind of like, have I even had time to process that? You know, I'm kind of like, because it's just been flat out since then. I'm just kind of like, have I even processed like how awesome that was? Yeah, it was just, bonkers awesome.
Now, do you mind taking me behind the scenes and taking me back to the process leading up to that? How did you get the opportunity, and what, how did you submit your song, and how did you write the song? Like, let's talk all about it.
Yeah. So the song I wrote in 2021, and it was part of my I basically during COVID started this feature on my Instagram called 5 Minute Song Friday, where I set a timer for 5 minutes and write a verse and chorus in that 5 minutes on a subject that my audience suggests. So I put kind of a little post on my Instagram story saying 5 Minute Song Friday, subjects go. And I've literally had like everything from like the biscuit tin to like love to like the ocean, to cold water swimming, which we were doing a lot of during COVID. Literally every subject that you could think of, I've probably had now. And one week, my fiance Jay, he actually put PlayStation in the suggestion box. And I was literally like, oh, this is going to be so easy. So I set my timer. And I was like, right, what is the PlayStation to me in my life? You know, how does the PlayStation show up in my life? Well, it's something that takes Jay away from spending time with me because he's spending time on the PlayStation. So I was like, so it's kind of like the PlayStation's another woman, you know, like the other woman. And so then I wrote the song from that perspective. I wrote the first verse and chorus in the 5 minutes, and then recorded it and put it up for my 5 Minute Song Friday. And then everyone loved it so much, I was like, I have to finish it. So then I think it took me about 20 minutes to finish it, just because it was such a funny song. Kind of also, teasing Jay a little bit about how much he loves his PlayStation in the process. So
of course.
So and then I started playing it at shows and things, and it went down really well, because I don't really consider myself as like a really funny comedic person, but this song is quite funny. So I just started playing it, and it went down really well at the shows. Well, when I say shows, I mean like on Zoom, because at that point COVID was kind of still a little bit around. And then when live music started to come back, I started to play it, and it was a really well-liked song. And then, fast forward to earlier on this year when Jay and we were speaking at NFT NYC back in April.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so we spoke at NFT London, and then we were invited back to speak at NFT NYC, and yeah, so we came to that, and we basically saw this tweet that was put out by Gary Vee, all about Gala music and how they were doing an open mic. So we were and we were at NFT NYC for like in New York, I think from the Monday to the Saturday, and then or Monday to the Sunday, and the open mic was on the Saturday. So we flew to New York, and it was like Monday morning, and I started to get like a bit ill, like I lost my voice pretty much.
Oh,
Yeah, but I was still performing at these events, and I managed to get through them, and I had these really good tablets that you can get here in England called Vocal Zones, and they literally got me through. And then it came to the Saturday, and we had an event to go to that morning, and the open mic was like, I think it was 9 till 6 maybe, or 10 till 6. But it said get there early to sign up. So anyway, so we had to go to this other event. So we went to this other event, and then that finished at like 2ish, and we were like, shall we head over to Brooklyn to go and check out this open mic? And I was kind of a bit worried because my voice wasn't where it usually is, and I was just like, oh, let's just go, we can go check it out. So we went and checked it out, got given a number, and then literally walked through the door, and Jamie, lovely Jamie, she's great, who works for Gala. I saw Taco actually. I'd also messaged him saying, can people from England come and do this? Because it said on the post, you know, New York City artists. So I was like, oh, are English people allowed? And of course he was like, yeah, of course. so I was like, well, I have to go now. You know, I've asked him if I'm allowed to.
You've gotten the proper invite.
Yeah. So I went and basically showed up, and I was like, oh my goodness, this is crazy. And it was in this really cool old record store, and there wasn't anybody. There weren't like many, like I was expecting there to be an audience and it'd be like one of the old school open mics that they do here, you know. But it was like you show up, there's like film crew, there's like the Gala lawyers there's sound guys, there was Gabe doing all the instruments, and he basically was like, what do you need? And I was like, a guitar, please. And then he just gave me a guitar and tuned it to how I needed it tuning. And I was literally like, oh my goodness. And then the film guy came and told me what he wanted me to do. He was like, I want you to walk on and walk off. So I was like, oh my goodness. And I think the reason I wasn't super nervous was because I was so concentrating on not coughing, because I had a cough with my, you know, I couldn't really, you know, speak very well and stuff. And I was just like, you know, if I get through this without coughing, I'll be so happy. So all my nerves were concentrated on that, you know, rather than the whole situation. And then, and so I basically walked on the stage that was in the corner of the room, and there was kind of like a sofa, and there was people kind of standing and watching. And then the sound crew were like up the top, and some people down the bottom, because there was kind of a balcony. And and I was just kind of like, right, I'm just gonna play this song, I'm just gonna do my thing. So I kind of said, this is a song about how much my fiance loves his PlayStation. So they were obviously filming and recording that. So I played that, and then they kind of, everybody clapped, and then they're like, can you play another one? So I played another one. And then they were like, great, that's a wrap, you know. And then afterwards we were kind of just hanging around and, you know, watched some other people and watched them interview Taco and things. And it was just like, wow, that was really cool. So then we left, and we went and took the lovely people we stayed with in New York out for dinner. And then the next day we flew to North Carolina for a bit of respite to stay with some of our friends, and then didn't hear anything all that time. And then I think when I landed back in England, I got this message saying it's going to voting now, and you're one of the finalists. There's 5 finalists and you're one of them. And I was like, oh my goodness. And then from then on, you know, we had to get everyone to vote, and Jay was like hustling and I was hustling. And then people voted, and then I couldn't believe it when Taco rang me saying that you've won. And you're going to VeeCon and you've won the contract. And I was just like, what?
Wow.
It was super overwhelming, super crazy, whirlwind, awesome, really is the only way to describe it, I think. And I'm just so grateful for every minute of it. You know, it was very, it is still very exciting. But yeah, that was just absolutely, I still can't even believe that was it this year. Do you know
I know.
Like,
I can't believe it's, and again, it seems like it was like, just yesterday, but at the same time, it seems like it was forever ago. Like
yeah.
I'm totally lost in it. And I was also at NFT NYC and I did not see you, but I guess it's a big city
Oh,
and a big event.
yeah.
I never go to the conference. I always just do the satellite events. So,
Oh my gosh, yeah. Satellite events are incredible as well, aren't they? Yeah, like we went to so many satellite events. I'm so surprised we didn't bump into you.
yeah. I'm with Pizza Dow, so I always help them with their parties. And
Yeah.
we threw the pizza party in the Lamborghini dealership in Manhattan.
Oh, I think we were supposed to come to the pizza party, and then something else came up that Jane needed to go to, and I had to kind of we went to go to that, and then we were going to come to that after, and then when you just get distracted at one event, and because there's so many events on it, isn't there? Like
it's just one after another, and I was only there for I helped set everything up, was there for 1 hour of the event, put out a fire on my way out the door, and not a literal fire, just like a little minor party planning thing, and then hopped on a train and went to the Yankees game for VSP. So I was hanging out with the Vayner Sports people.
So cool. There's just so much to do, and you just can't do all of it, even if you want to. Like,
oh yeah,
you end up being like, right, we're going to stay here half an hour, but obviously you are there to network and get to know people and things as well. So yeah, it's incredible. Like, I really love all of that. Like, in real life events for me are just like my favorite, because there's nothing like that in real life connection. It's something I thrive off, and it's something that really inspires me and kind of gives me really cool ideas for songs. And and I just thrive off of that. I love it.
Absolutely. Yeah. So how long have you been? So take me back to the beginning. Like when did you start writing songs, and how did you get into it?
Yeah. So yeah, my mum and dad always say that as soon as I could speak, I would sing all the time. I remember very vividly my dad saying to me, "Stop singing at the table," whilst we were having dinner when I was a kid,
Don't sing with your mouth full of food,
Yeah, I would just always be like, I mean, even now sometimes I'll be like, just around the house. My mum's always like, I always know when you're home, if I'm at bed. And it's so my first kind of proper song I wrote was when I was about 13, and my piano teacher, he kind of told me to go away and write my truth. No, he didn't. Sorry. He told me to go away and write some songs, because I was doing some grades on the piano, classical grades, and I would get so nervous to do the exams that I'd be sitting at the piano shaking in front of the examiner, and I'd always mess up because I was so nervous.
Oh.
So I didn't like doing the exams. So I just said to him, I don't know if I want to do this anymore. So then he was like, oh, well, why don't you try writing a song? So the next week I came back with 2 songs that I'd written.
Wow.
I can literally sing one of them to you now. It's like, is it something special? Does he really love me? Is it something special? Are we meant to be? That's like the chorus of one of them. Literally, like, so cringe. But...
for 13, that is damn good. Okay.
Well, it was like, yeah, and like the verses were like so dramatic. They were like, when I was hanging around in the pouring rain, waiting for my bus to come, the raindrops soaking me through, voices running through my head too. Is it something special? And it was just so cringe. But everyone's got to start somewhere, right?
Sure.
So my piano teacher was so like supportive about these songs that I'd written, that we went into the studio and recorded them. So I ended up playing live in the studio and singing with his, because he was in like a jazz trio, and I ended up playing the piano and singing, and his bassist and his drummer were with me in the studio, so we recorded them live. So I've got them on CD somewhere. Yeah, and it was just, it was really, really cool. And I sound, if I listen back to them, I haven't in a long time, I'm not even sure where the CD is, but I sound like a little chipmunk. It's really cute. But but yeah, that's kind of where my songwriting started. And then my auntie gave me a CD of a girl named Holly Rogers, who's a Cornish singer-songwriter. And she gave me her CD and she played guitar and she sung. I think I was about 14 at this time. And I immediately was like, I want to play guitar. I want to be like Holly. So I taught myself guitar. I think I got a guitar for Christmas or something like that. And and then taught myself guitar and started writing songs on guitar as well as piano. And then really cool story. Maybe like, gosh, it must have been like, maybe it was a few years ago, maybe like 6 years ago from now. So how old would I have been? So basically something like 7 years after that moment of hearing her CD and learning guitar because of her, I supported her on a gig. And I told her the story. Yeah, I told her the story and I was like, Holly, you're the reason I play guitar. Like,
wow.
And it was really cool. And I still see her on the circuit now. And she just played Glastonbury actually, and she's absolutely amazing. Her voice is just really cool, and she's just really fun and lovely as well. And and I'll never forget meeting her and playing before her at one of her shows. Because obviously she's the reason I decided to play and sing with guitar as well. So
wow.
So that's kind of a little bit of the journey. And then I didn't, when I was at school, there was nothing else I was passionate about apart from music. So it just kind of became natural that I would go to a music university in London. So that's what I did, and I've just literally been playing music ever since, and writing songs for myself, writing for other artists, working, taking every opportunity that comes my way, really working with whoever I can. And I just love it. I just really love it. It's great.
That's good that you like it because you're good at it. So, it's good that, it's good that you actually like the thing that you're good at and that you do for a living. Is this now, have you been doing music pretty much full time since graduating?
So I worked, when I graduated, I actually worked, to live in London, I worked 5 jobs at one time just so I could carry on gigging. I worked 5 jobs, and then I worked 3. And then I became a live-in nanny for a little bit so I could do music on the side of helping someone with their children. Then I moved home. And then that allowed me to just have one job and save some money and do music. And then COVID hit, which meant that I kind of had to adapt because obviously all my gig money was gone. So I started my own social media business where I kind of help companies who don't really know a lot about social media and don't have the time to do it for themselves. I kind of help them have an online presence, basically. So then COVID, I was doing that plus like online gigs, like any online gigs that anybody would offer me, and just doing as many writing sessions in a week as I could because obviously I had all this time. And I also helped out in my friend's bakery when she was able to open again, because obviously staff was an issue at that point in hospitality. So I kind of over the years had a number of different jobs, and then obviously COVID made things difficult for everybody. And then since then, like the last year, I've done music full time. I still help out a few of the social media people just because, I'm more than happy to do that. But apart from that, it's literally entirely music. And obviously having this contract with Gala Music means that I will just be doing it completely and utterly full time.
Wow, congratulations.
Thank you. I mean, it's taken a long time to get here, and it's really nice to be here. It's really nice to be doing the right gigs, playing, I do like a lot of weddings and pub gigs and things, which are really good practice. They're all singing covers and learning covers, which I back when I was a teenager and I was dreaming of like the pop star life, I didn't want to do covers. I didn't want to play in pubs and do covers, but actually you learn so much, and it keeps you so grounded. Like the week after I played VeeCon, I was playing in this pub and nobody was listening, and they asked me to turn down And I was literally just like, none of you know that I've just played in a stadium. And then I was literally like, that was running through my head, and I was like, do you know what? No, like, this is keeping me grounded. This is great practice, and I'm being paid for it, so I can't complain. And you know, I always do slip a few of my own songs in the set as well.
Of course.
But yeah, my biggest passion is playing and singing my own songs, for sure. Like, if I could, just do that 24/7, that would be great.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
When you were working 5 jobs, were you also performing and like writing?
Yeah.
Wow,
I was,
whew.
yeah, it was ridiculous. Like, I was working one job 8 till 2, then going to another one that was like 2 till 8, then going to another one in the evening, and then on the weekends I would do like this other 9 to 5 job, and then in the evenings go to another job. And it was so much, and I was like getting really burnt out. You know, my mum and dad were just like, Emily, this is not healthy. And Jay as well, he was like, I never see you. You're always working, you never, you know, this isn't like sustainable. Working this much and paying so much money to live in London when you can't take full advantage of it and all it has to offer because you're working so much. So yeah, it was definitely a short-lived period of time where I think I did it maybe 6 months, and then it was like, I need to reassess my life.
Yeah, you can only do that for a short. You can only do it when you're young, and you can only do it for a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, but at this time when I was doing that, I was maybe like 22. So it was possible, you know, and I was fresh out of uni. So yeah, it was possible, but it wasn't easy at all. Like, it was really hard. And actually a couple of my housemates were doing the same. And we just all ended up just being like, guys, we need to sort our lives out. You know, this isn't sustainable. We need to hand our notice in and move out of this place and go home. Like, we all need to go home and reassess, you know, what we're doing. But I think as well, when you just want to like live and breathe your passion, right? But then also your passion comes with things like that. You know, sometimes you have to work 5 jobs so you can do your passion. And then eventually the more time and effort you put in, and it can become your full-time job, you know, so you don't have to worry as much. But it's definitely not for the faint-hearted. You know, you put the time in. Like, I think with anything creative, hopefully, well, since Web3, you know, has come around, and NFTs and things, I do feel like it has changed the path for a lot of creative people for the better. You know, and you finally get paid what you deserve for what you have to offer the world, you know. So yeah, I think it's really cool.
Yeah,
it's really cool.
And you don't have to pay anybody else either. You can get paid directly, which is amazing. And so how did you get into NFTs and Web3?
Yeah, well, Bstract, my fiance Jay, he's to blame for my
at Bstract on Twitter. Like abstract, but we'll link it up, and he's going to be on the podcast. I've already DM'd him.
Oh yeah, he'll be a great guest. So he basically, during COVID, he was painting in my garden because he'd heard about NFTs. He'd heard about NFTs through a podcast. I think it was with Steve-O. On Steve-O's podcast, maybe. I feel like Mark Cuban might have been on the podcast. Anyway, he listened to this podcast, then he started painting in my garden. And then a year, that was probably August. I think that was 2020. And then it was either, I think it was 2020, but I might be wrong. You'll have to listen to his version of the story.
That sounds about right. It sounds about like fresh 3 months in. About 3 months in, we all kind of went. And that sounds like a very pandemic thing to say. He was painting in my garden.
Yeah, honestly, yeah. He heard this podcast. The next thing, he was painting in my garden. He's always been very good at art. You know, he's always been like a beautiful artist. He's painted like quite a few beautiful things for like my grandparents and stuff. So he decided to give the abstract stuff a go, and he obviously had this idea of like Bstract, and you know, he had all of these amazing ideas. He's such a good ideas man. Like, any businesses out there, if you're listening, if you need some fresh ideas, Jay is your man. He is so good at ideas. Like, he should be paid for his ideas. He's that good at them. So yeah, so he was painting, and then like a few months later, you know, he was fully absorbed into this world, and I was like, where's my fiance gone, you know? What's going on? And I didn't fully understand, you know, what he was talking about when he was explaining to me, and I was trying to kind of learn about it, and yeah, and then at one point, I don't know if it was 20, I feel like it was 2021, but it was August. No, I was in Jersey, so it must have been 2020 maybe. It was definitely like towards the end of summer, and he was like, Emily, I've just sold 5 paintings. And then he was like, I've just sold 7, I've just sold 8, I've just, you know, and he just kept all of these paintings just kept selling. And what happened was, as Mark Cuban actually tweeted about Jay's art, so all these
Oh.
paintings of his first collection just suddenly sold, and we were just like, what is going on? And then yeah, and then kind of as time went on, he said to me, Emily, I think this could be the future of music. I think Web3 could be the place to be for music. And I think if it's, you know, if it is the future of music, you need to be in there and paving the way. And I was like, you're right. I do. I want to be, you know, I do need to be, and I want to be. And then with much persuading, he managed he managed to persuade me to kind of start looking at it and researching it. And then we ended up coming up with, so I'd written a song for my little goddaughter for her first birthday. She's 2 now, so this would have been 2021. So I wrote a song for her first birthday, and then I said to Jay, oh, I'm going to use this song like a diary, and I'm going to rewrite the song every year and write about how she's changed in that year, because this song was for age 1, so it was all about like everything she's done in the past year, you know, and how it's made everyone around her feel, and all of these things, and all she can do, and the life lessons I wanted to kind of impart onto her. And then he was like, Emily, that's such a good idea for an NFT project. So we ended up basically, Jay was like, why don't we do 100 songs, so 1 to 100, each one in the year of a life of a woman, and interview as many women as we can to get their stories, get them to pick an age and tell us the story, and then you turn it into song lyrics. So that's exactly what we did, and he created 100 pieces of art to go with it, and we launched it. Was it this year? I feel like it might have been this year, March this year. Was it March this year? March this year on International Women's Day. Gosh, so much has happened this year.
Wow!
Yeah,
Congratulations.
oh, thank you. Yeah, it was so much work, but it was, yeah, it was really cool. You know, we did everything ourselves. So Jay made the art. You know, I think he'll tell you more probably when you interview him, but it's like 3 different pieces of art in each piece of art. So he had to create like over 200 pieces of art, and it's all digitally animated and everything. And then he played a lot of the instruments, you know, on the track. Each track is basically the bones of the same song, but the lyrics are different, telling each woman's story. And we have like a different guitar solo on every single one. So we got a bunch of friends to put some guitar down, and Jay put some ukulele down, and, you know, some keys down, you know, all of these kind of other instruments. And yeah, it was a massive project, and we were working with Hugs, and that's kind of when I got into NFTs. I'd say probably September, October, we started working with them, and that kind of really educated me on their incubator program. Like, it was absolutely incredible. I had like 4 lessons a week, you know, with the Hugs team about NFTs and how we wanted our project to go, and what the aims of our project were, and kind of really defining our goals as people within the Web3 space, and how we wanted to change the world with our project. And, you know, under their guidance, I learned so much and became so much more interested in it, you know, because it wasn't just Jay telling me that at that point. It was all these other voices and all these other people in my cohort kind of explaining to me why they wanted to be there and what their passion project was, you know. So yeah, that was incredible. We just have absolutely loved every second of that. And then the back of, you know, being in New York, end up signing to Gala. So it's just been wild.
That is so cool. So this project where you're interviewing the women, is it you're writing songs about these women. Is it in a song that represents each age from 1 to 100, or is it just 100 women with different?
Yeah, so we've got age 1 to 100. So
Wow.
we've literally got the first song that I wrote for my goddaughter about everything she could do when she turned 1. Then we've got, some people from the Web3 space. We've got some people who are outside of Web3. I also, for a bit of the older generation, took inspiration from a lot of like people that were interviewed on YouTube videos. Like these videos you see that are like, how does it feel to be 100? How does it feel to be
Sure.
50?
Yeah.
When I, if there was any ages that we didn't have in the run up to kind of being like, oh gosh, we've only got X amount of time left on this project now, we need to get recording. If there was any that we didn't have, then I would just kind of do some research and get the research kind of into the song that I kind of discovered, and just make notes on how these people were feeling, and how they fed back. And yeah, we interviewed so many people, and it was just a case of basically messaging them, hi, we'd really love you to be part of we'd love your voice in our project, because we wanted to create a hugely diverse voice, and obviously age 1 to 100 is a lot of ages, a lot of life experience within that time to cover as well. And every woman, every girl experiences life differently. So it was really, really cool. Like, I love people as well. So like hearing people's stories and kind of them sharing it with me, I just felt so grateful and so like honored to have heard their story, and to have experienced that from them. And yeah, so each one is year, age 1 to 100, all different women, different girls, different women. Yeah, even, there's a lot of issues covered within it that women go through and experience. So like from everything happy, sad, and in between. We just asked them to pick something that was poignant to them. Sometimes it was like, oh, when I was 23, I went traveling and it was the best thing ever, and sometimes it was like, well, this really bad thing happened to me and it shaped me, but I'm doing okay now, so it's just incredible stories. And yeah.
Sure, yeah, and you not only get it like of their age perspective, but then you also get like a historical perspective as well, because you're getting the stories, or you're getting a perspective from somebody who is of a different generation. Are there
Yeah.
any like lessons that you've learned through this, or any takeaways, or anything that you share with people where you say like, oh, this was the one thing there, or something that you thought was really amazing from the project?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely I definitely felt like I learned a lot about kind of how it feels to grow older, and how actually every single person was kind of like, as they got, so say 50 onwards, it was as old as they felt like they were younger, but when they looked in the mirror, that was the only thing that reminded them of their age, or the way people treated them was what reminded them of their age in terms of the lyrical content. And I also, the amount of people that kind of quit their dream because they couldn't afford to do it, because it wasn't supported at that time, and then came back to it like 30 years later, was incredible. And also such small things that we take for granted now, such as like flying somewhere, all these kind of things that were huge many years ago that we take for granted now. I hop on a plane almost every week to go and see Jay in Jersey, like 40 minutes on the plane, whereas this like 13-year-old girl, she fled her country at the age of 13. That was the age she was first allowed to fly on her own, and it's just like crazy. So I felt like I learned so much about people and about women and all the stuff that women go through. And then in terms of like the tech side of the project, like the amount of work that goes into an NFT project, or to any project, but especially an NFT project, should never be overlooked. Like, it takes so much time, so much effort, and it literally takes all of your time and effort, basically, for the best part of a year, pretty much. And then obviously you just really want it to go well. You just want it to go as well as it possibly can, and people to connect with it and love it. And if, you know, Jay and I very much wanted to be the start of something for us. You know, we wanted it to be a long-lasting community. We wanted to generate people that would want to come and follow our journeys, rather than just, you know, buy the piece of art and sell it on. You know, we wanted to create a meaningful connection with each piece. So that was kind of our aim. You know, we just kept being like, right, meaningful connection, you know. So yeah, hopefully we've done that. Hopefully that comes across in the pieces. But yeah, it's just been a whirlwind.
That is so cool. And how is the project done? Mint wise, did it mint out?
So we basically, because it was just me and Jay promoting it, and it was only, you know, and I'm so new to the space, we've sold 50%.
Wow,
we actually announced.
That's amazing.
Yeah. I mean, we were so, you know, we're so happy with that, and quite a lot of a couple of the Gala guys have actually bought some pieces since we met them at VeeCon and things. Thank you guys. And yeah, we didn't want to kind of, obviously you want every project to be a sellout, right? But for us, it was more like, you know, we want the right people to be buying it. We don't want the people who are just going to buy it and sell it on. We want them to connect with it. And connection takes time, you know, finding the people that will connect with your art or your music. It takes time. You know, it's taken me 15 years to build up, you know, a fan base, you know. So we were very much kind of like, if it doesn't sell out, that's okay, because the right people will come and find us and find the art and the music and connect with it. And those are the people we'd love to be holders. And those people, you know, we can provide you, you know, you know, will appreciate the great utility that comes with our project. And yeah, hopefully we'll connect with them on a deeper level, you know, and they'll be part of our community. So we've definitely found that, you know, over since March. And yeah, we haven't actually, I don't think we've even announced that it's public now. We announced it at NFT London, then we told obviously people at VeeCon, but we haven't announced it on Twitter that it's public, I don't think now. We've just put the mint live. But yeah, we had a lot of community support within Web3 for the pre-sale and things. So that was really cool.
That's amazing. Yeah, I think that's like the thing that I found so compelling about Web3, besides, like, I always say it like combines all of my favorite things. Like, it's art, it's technology, and it's socialization, like people, community.
Mm-hmm.
And the community part, I think, is the thing that has surprised me the most, because like you kind of expected it, you going into it, you kind of expect it to be like techie and like you're obviously like doing something with art, but then you see this amazing community that is supporting the technology, and like whether they're like even just supporting like onboarding people, like, you know, the people who onboarded me in the very beginning, like, you know, helping me get my wallet set up, or like and like minting on different chains, and doing all that type of stuff, like just really, really cool. And then, you know, having somebody like Mark Cuban retweet, you know, that's really kind of the thing that you don't expect, but then you get that support, you get that love, and it really it kind of goes around too. Like, I feel like it's not just one person or like, you know, the celebrity is like a top down thing. It really is just everybody kind of in it, because I feel like that it is like a new frontier. We're all kind of, I keep saying, I used to say that in Clubhouse, and I say it on Twitter, we're all still new at this, right? Like, come on, man. Anybody who says that they're like a veteran in Web3 is bullshit, because like, I mean, like, you know, there are people who really are veterans of Web3, but like most of us have only been here for like 2 years. So and technology changes so fast, right? You know, and so fast.
Yeah, and I think the opportunity available within Web3 is basically one of the most incredible things, you know. Like, there's no way that I would know Randy Zuckerberg if I wasn't in Web3. For example, you know, there's no way like the Gala wouldn't have happened if I wasn't in Web3. You know, it's just incredible. Like VeeCon, you know, it's just the amount of opportunity it's brought me in, like, what, since I've been in the space, so probably since like September last year, is insane. Like, this is probably like 10 years work, 10 years minimum work outside of Web3. What's happened to me this year alone, you know, it's just madness. It's madness. It's like incredible, wonderful madness. And the coolest thing as well, as I think, like going back to the 100 Years of Women project, is that all of these women's voices are going to be on the blockchain forever. You know, their stories are out there forever now, which I think is really cool. And that's one thing I do love about the blockchain, is once it's there, it's there. You know, it's there forever, and it's your legacy you leave behind, or however you want to frame it. It's really cool, really, really cool.
Yeah, absolutely. It is so neat. And so how is and I think I just wanted to mention how cool the Gala, I mentioned it on my last podcast, but the Gala booth and the whole Gala experience at VeeCon was really amazing. Like, I just loved their whole booth, the way that they had it set up, like the way that you were able to, from my perspective, from the listener perspective, it was like the silent disco. You see the recording process, the creative process. Were you able to go in and do any of the sound booth stuff in there?
Yeah. So I recorded a session. So it was like the VeeCon competition was happening on the Friday in the booth. And then on the Saturday, Shocky went in. I think he was in at 10 a.m. Then Jordan Sparks went in and did a session. She did like a podcast recording and like talked through her entire process, which was really cool. And then after her, I went in and did a half an hour session. So I basically just like did a gig in there, and everyone obviously was listening in on the wireless headphones. And I was saying to the team, I was like, guys, this needs to happen at every festival. Like, if this was at Glastonbury, it would be incredible. I'm basically like, get this to Glastonbury, because it was such a good festival. But yeah, I basically was like, this booth would go down so well at festivals, because so many people would be passing by and want to see who's playing and listen. And then obviously you get them signed up to Gala. And yeah, I recorded 5 or 6 or 7 songs in there.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and I even did a 5-minute song Friday in there, actually. Lance, one of the Gala kind of supporters, he gave me a subject, and I did my 5-minute song Friday live in the booth.
That's so cool. And the pressure's on though, right? I mean,
oh my gosh, it really was. Yeah, and I didn't have like anything to lean my phone on, so I kept like forgetting what the lyrics were, because I'd just written them down. You know, I was writing them down as I went on the phone and playing chords and putting my phone down, you know, on the side. And then I was like, how does it go again? Hang on. You know. But it was cool to. Well, I'm proud of myself for being brave enough to do that, to do that exercise in front of everybody, on the spot. But that is what I do every Friday anyway. But yeah, so that was really cool. But yeah, I sat and listened to Shocky's session on the Saturday, and it was absolutely incredible. Like, it was just magic. Like, it was just so cool. When you put those wireless headphones on, you're just transported to another world that's inside that booth, you know. Mm-hmm. And it's like you're in there with the artist. And you know, he was kind of he kind of did like a few songs in a row, and then he did a few of them again, because he wanted to get another version of them. And it was just, yeah, really, really cool to like see people's creative processes, hear the stories behind the songs, because I'm all about like the story behind the song. And yeah, it was such a cool thing to have done. And I hope they do it again and again and again.
yeah. And congrats to Shocky for winning the competition. I don't know if we mentioned that, but Shocky was the winner, which was cool. Yeah. He was awesome.
Yeah. So he won the Jordan Sparks competition. So he's got Jordan Sparks on a track. I'm sure that will be coming out at some point this year, hopefully. I can't wait to hear it. It's going to be epic.
Yeah,
I just know
it. Same. Yeah. So what have you been up to since VeeCon? What's been on the besides 5-Minute Fridays and that little hiccup at the gig?
Yeah, I have just been, what have I been doing? Yeah, I have literally just been I flew back from VeeCon, and then was just kind of into like a week of madness, and then celebrating my birthday with friends and family. And then I've been back in the studio recording some new songs, signed my Gala contract. And July is like a crazy busy time for gigs, pretty much, you know, for weddings and parties and summer days, barbecues, you know, all of these things. So I've just been in full gigging mode, pretty much like every weekend, like 3 to 5 gigs a weekend. Like, it's been madness, but it's great. And then fitting in studio and writing some other songs, some new songs around all of that, basically, and flying to see Jay in Jersey. And I got endorsed by like the most beautiful guitars ever. This local guitar company close to me, I borrowed one of their guitars when mine was in the shop for a tour back in 2017 that I was doing at the time, and I like fell in love with it. And I was like, one day I want to work with this company, because they're literally half an hour drive from my house, so they're so local to where I've lived for, you know, a long time, and where my family live. And I went in. Basically, before COVID, I was meant to go and have a look around the workshop, and then everything got locked down, so it didn't happen. And then I remembered to follow up earlier this year, and then they had like an outbreak of COVID or something. So then anyway, eventually I went in, and they offered me the artist endorsement deal. So I got to pick a guitar, and I got like a really amazing discount, and this guitar is like the most beautiful thing I've ever played.
Wow.
And I'm just so grateful. Things happen at the right time, right? Because I don't know if I would have appreciated it as much before COVID, or maybe I would have, because it would have been really nice having their guitar for the whole of COVID, probably. But I feel like things happen when they're supposed to sometimes, because this guitar, you know, I've waited so long to own a guitar like this, because it's just kind of been something that I've wanted to do since 2017, you know, so it's just kind of all happened at the right time. And I basically have just been playing that guitar and having a bit of time with it, and loving it. And flying to and from Jersey to see Jay, and to do some gigs there and some gigs here. Friends, I've had a couple of my best friends got married as well since VeeCon, actually. I think we flew back to VeeCon and went straight to a wedding the next day.
Oh, wow.
It was it was bonkers. And then my best friend, who I've known since I was 8 years old, she got married, and like maybe a week later. So it's just been crazy, a crazy awesome time, really. I don't want any of it to stop. I just want it to keep being awesome.
Oh, that's great. That is. I hope it does keep being awesome. And we didn't even mention that. I assume it's an acoustic guitar, right? Because you are a singer-songwriter. I think your bio says country. Do you consider yourself a country singer-songwriter?
I mean, I'd say the way I write songs is quite country in terms of they tell a story. And I definitely classed myself as country for a long time. But now I don't know, I kind of want to experiment. I want to see what kind of vibe that, you know, what kind of new vibe I might come out with. You know, the beauty of being signed to Gala now is I can do whatever music I want to, you know, I can kind of just be me and see where the creativity takes me. But the country definitely is like has been a huge part of my career so far. Like, I do love country music. Like, I love the songwriters in country music are just incredible. I consider a lot of my stuff country. Like, a lot of the stuff that's out there already is definitely a country vibe.
I get a country vibe. I feel like that the PlayStation song, like, I'm a big folk fan, and I felt like that the PlayStation song had kind of like a folky kind of vibe. But that could have just been my interpretation of it, right? It could have been my folk colored glasses.
I mean, I started off pretty much very folk, and then I moved to country because I kind of discovered Nashville, the TV program, and I was like, oh, I want to try that. And I loved the guitar riffs and stuff, and my guitarist at the time was like, why don't you go country? And I was like, yeah, I'm going to do that. And then now I kind of like to experiment with a bit more kind of like rocky aspects sometimes in some of the songs. Like I think PlayStation with a full band will be very different to just me and the guitar.
Ooh.
I'm really excited about that.
Yeah.
And then I think some of the stuff I've been doing in the studio has been a bit folkier, and then some of it's been poppier. So it's kind of, I think I have for a long time kind of limited myself to one genre, but actually there's so many different genres accepted and within country now. For example, you can just be anything you want to be, and I think your kind of passions and can change over time as well, right? And the way you write songs or what you're writing about can change depending on your age or what you're experiencing, or whatever it is.
Yeah, totally.
It's really exciting. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you have like I like Casey Musgraves. I mean, she writes about smoking weed. You got Miss Margot Price, who is who's I mean, she's just doing her own thing. She's like, I love Margot Price. She is amazing. And there's just so many. Yeah, you're right. I think that there's a lot of room to play, and I'm really excited. So this is like and you have this new guitar to accompany you through your process as you're coming out with your new songs, which is really awesome.
Yeah, it's really cool, really exciting, and the guitar's actually in Jersey right now, so Jay's enjoying playing it a lot, I think.
Have you named the guitar?
I don't think I have, actually. I've had some suggestions, like I put it on my social media, what should I name her? But I haven't actually settled on one yet. I think I need to play her a bit more, and I don't know. I don't quite know. It's like it's called the Austin Smokehouse. It's kind of like a really cool kind of dark black matte kind of finish.
Ooh.
And it just looks really, I've never had like a super cool guitar like that before. There were all these like different, like beautiful, like obviously like wood finishes, and then I was like, nah, that one looks really cool, I'm gonna get that one. With the matte black kind of finish. Just looks really cool. But no, I haven't named her, so if you've got any ideas, send them my way.
No, I think of I think all guitars, I think of them as ladies. I don't know, kind of like cars, you know what I mean? But then my friend and former podcast guest, two-time podcast guest, Steve Poltz, his guitar is named Smokey Joe. And Smokey Joe has been this tailor has been through it all. I mean, Steve tripped over a chord and fell onto it on stage. There's pictures on Instagram of Smokey Joe in surgery at the Taylor factory, multiple holes in Smokey Joe, but Smokey Joe just keeps kicking, and he just keeps doing his thing.
Smokey Joe lives on. I love it.
Oh, Emily Faye, it has been so awesome to talk to you. I ask every guest 3 silly questions, but before I do, was there anything that I should have asked that I didn't ask?
No, I think everything you asked is great.
Oh, that's awesome. It's been so great to talk to you, and I'll link up all of your social media profiles in the. Do you want to hit people with your social medias real quick?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. What do you want me to just say? What my social media is?
Yeah, and where you want people to find your music or look you up.
Yeah, so you can find me on social media, on Twitter, all the social medias, at Emily Faye Music, apart from Facebook, which is the Emily Faye Music. But if you just type Emily Faye Music into Google, I will come up. And you can check out my project that I did with Beestract, and that's at Years of Women on Twitter. You'll be able to find everything you need there. Yeah, thank you.
And every Friday on Instagram. Is that only on Instagram? Do you do that on the TikTok as well, or are you on Threads yet?
Yeah, so I'm on Threads, I'm on TikTok, all out Emily Faye Music. I'm a lot of the time forget to upload the video to TikTok because I'm afraid of TikTok, because I end up being distracted by an hour.
Yep.
So I'm really like strict on how often I go on it. So Instagram, is where you can find 5 Minutes on Friday without a doubt. Sometimes it'll be on Twitter, sometimes it will be, I'll add it onto other things sometimes as well. And then I'm on Threads. I've been I think I put last week's 5 Minutes on Friday up there as well. But I really should be more cohesive with where I post everything. Yeah, and yes, and also if you haven't signed up to Gala yet, be sure to go and sign up there, because there are some really exciting things coming very soon.
Oh, it's so
Yeah,
exciting.
yeah, very exciting.
That is so awesome. Yeah, it's been so great to talk to you, and I love that you that Jay is in Jersey and that we have the whole Jersey connection. And I think it's so cool that you guys like. I have my own little island tourist thing here, and you guys have your own
Yeah,
little island tourist thing there. And then
yeah,
I like turned to Jay one time and I was like, "Hey Jay, do you surf?" And he's like, "Yeah." Like, holy shit, dude! I knew
so
that we
cool.
were friends from the beginning. So, and I think you mentioned that you were
Yeah.
going to try to paddle out when you go visit Jay, right?
Yeah, I'm flying over very soon, and I'm actually in Jersey for like 3 weeks in August, and I just really want to focus on. Obviously, I've got some gigs and things, but I really want to focus on surfing, because I feel like I just haven't had enough time to dedicate, getting better. And we actually went to a place in Bristol called the Bristol Wave, which is like this man-made wave, last December, and it was
Oh,
freezing cold. It was like 20th of December. There'd just been like this really cold snap in England, and I took Jay for his birthday present, and these waves were like killer waves, and every single one was the exact same. And so I kind of it like I just kept getting completely wiped out the whole entire time. I think I stood up once, and I basically like got a black eye from the
oh
surfboard.
no.
For me, it was a disaster. And since then, it's been like really hard to like, when you like drop in, where that moment before you pop up, that
Yes.
moment terrifies me now, because that would be when I would wipe out from this hardcore wave. But I think maybe I just was like, maybe I was in a class that I was a bit too not good enough for, probably. But yeah, I basically need to get back and get back on the horse, get back in the water, and try and just like stand up more. I used to be like really, really good, because I went to Portugal and had some really cool lessons and did like a surf camp. But now I feel like I've lost it. It's one of those things, isn't it? Like surf fit is different to like walking fit or running fit. But I'm excited to get back out there on the board now, for sure.
Oh yeah, yeah. Like having 3 solid weeks out there, that's what you need, and that's what it takes.
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
I was out this morning and I have a surf coach, but she just shout out to Cassie McLean. I gotta get her on the
So cool.
podcast. She is awesome. She surfs at a music festival in Asbury Park, New Jersey. This is
Oh,
like the third year
so
that she's
cool.
doing it. Yeah, so
Yeah,
she's absolutely amazing. But she
I
told me
need a
her
surf.
advice was stand up faster. She was like, pop up faster. She's like, you're
Yeah,
better if you're gonna eat shit, do it like after you stand up. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
because I
yeah.
was having the same issue, and I still have the same
Defo.
issues. The first wave I caught this morning, I totally ate shit and yeah, nosedived, and she was
Yeah.
she just shook her head, and I was like, I know, coach. I have nicknamed her coach because she's my surf
I
coach.
love that. Yeah, I think what I need is a coach to tell me exactly what I'm doing wrong, and then like, when you're struggling, that's generally what you do in life, right? You get a coach to kind of help you out for a second, and then you practice, and then you get helped out again if you need it. So yeah, I think that's a good idea. Actually, I might book something in, because I just feel like I'm getting worse and worse, not better and better.
Oh, I've been there. I've been there. Yeah, and then you look back on your glory days, right? And you're like, when you're in
Yeah,
Portugal, yeah, and
yeah,
you're like, I feel like
yeah.
I knew how to do this at one point in my life.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And there was a time where I was better than Jay, and it was so satisfying. But now he's way better than me. Um, yeah, he's standing up all over the shop, and I'm just like wiping out all the time. So yeah, I'm looking forward to getting some time in the ocean, 100%
And
in
showing him
August.
up.
Yeah, yeah, definitely, if I can.
Awesome. Well, if you don't mind, I have three very silly questions that I ask every
Yes,
guest, but hopefully you'll indulge me. But Emily Faye, it's been an absolute pleasure. I can't wait.
thank
I
you.
need to go visit the other Jersey, so I can go see what your
Yes,
island looks like over there.
100%. Come and show us all how to surf.
Oh no, I won't be showing anybody any. I'll show you some great wipeout skills, that's for sure. So the first silly question is, what was the first album that you ever received as a gift or that you went out and bought?
I think it was S Club 7.
S Club 7.
Um, yeah, Yeah, don't stop, never give up. Oh, jet high and reach the top. Yeah, all of those bangers, you know.
Was
The S
that
Club
a
7.
is S Club 7, is that, I don't, like, why does that not, I feel like I know it but I don't, but I should know it. Was that like a
Don't
boy
stop
band in
moving.
England?
It was like a group, so mixture of girls and boys, but it was like huge.
Yes.
They were huge. They're actually back on tour now. However many years later, they're going back on tour.
They're all back
Um,
on tour now.
yeah. That was the first. Yeah, that was the first CD I ever got. But my dad actually, when I was younger, he used to make me mixtapes. When I was super small, and I used to listen to them in my Walkman. Yeah, and there was loads of stuff on there, like Elton John, Paula Cole, Fleetwood Mac, you know, all of that. But the first kind of CD was, yeah, S Club 7.
And
I mean, the kids of today probably don't even know what CDs are, do they, now? Or tapes. Oh, man. Yeah,
totally.
tapes.
Totally. That's
Nah.
so, did you go out and buy this like with your own money, or did you get it as a gift?
I think I got it as a gift, and I remember also getting Steps as well, actually. Steps CD. Yeah, S Club 7 and Steps, rock and roll.
Amazing.
Classic. Yeah, classics.
What was the first concert that you ever attended?
Okay, so my dad, like, well, my mum and my dad's like a huge kind of, he's a music fan, and my mum also is. But he took us, me, my mum, my dad, and my brother to go and see Meatloaf live in concert, and that was my first ever.
No way. And this is Bad Out of Hell Part 2. I Would Do Anything for Love. This is that tour, right?
Yes.
Jesus,
Yes.
I am so jealous.
Yeah. Yeah. I still remember it being the best night ever. Like, we were standing on our chairs, and I got this tank top. I was 11 years old, and I got this tank top that said "Angels had guitars before they had wings" on the back.
Oh, jeez.
And I literally just remember having the best time and being like, "What? We're allowed to stand on the chairs?" And my mum and dad were like, "Yeah, it's a rock concert." And it was outdoor, like open air, like at Warwick Castle or somewhere crazy like that. It was incredible. And there was also the girl that sings on a lot of his stuff. She was there. You know, the girl that sings like there were nights when the wind was so cold. Yeah.
Wow,
he had like a special
spot on.
powerhouse. He had like this special powerhouse singer with him, which obviously mega inspired me because I love singing. And I think I listened to her singing and found out who she was, and just used to like sing all their songs for like weeks after that gig.
Wow. Was it a very theatrical show too?
Oh my gosh, it was amazing. Yeah. I just remember it being so good. I have to ask my dad about, because his memory is probably clearer than mine, right? Because I was so young. But I'll have to ask him what he thought of it. You know, like, because he might remember it better. But I just remember it being totally wicked. Yeah.
Oh, that's
really
so cool. Good. Wow. I'm so jealous. So, last silly question. What is your favorite soundtrack or score from a movie?
Oh my goodness. Okay, well, there's so many, aren't there?
There's a lot. There's a lot of good ones.
I'm going to go top 3. Is that allowed?
That's totally allowed. Yeah, as long as they're not musicals, then they're disqualified.
Yeah, that's cool. So, my number 1, because I love the movie so much, is The Holiday. The music in the movie The Holiday is like one of my favorite soundtracks of all time. It's just beautiful. It's just absolutely beautiful. And it was actually The Holiday that made me want to kind of maybe compose music for songs, like for films, or it's all by like a lot of it's by Hans Zimmer. It's
just sure. Yeah, he's amazing.
Yeah, and it just really, I don't know, just that movie's got me through some really low points in my life. It's like my go-to comfort movie, right? So that soundtrack, I went to go and see it, the movie with a live orchestra last Christmas, and it was incredible. And it,
whoa,
yeah, it was absolutely amazing. And I can literally like sing every bit of that soundtrack. I sing it to Jay all the time. I'm like, dun, 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 dun. So funny. And then I would say Pirates of the Caribbean and Harry Potter. Those are my others as well.
Wow. And then who did Do you remember? Was that who did Pirates of the Caribbean? Because that is really good. That whole like, dun, 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 yeah. I
Who
should
is it?
know it.
Yeah,
I feel like it's somebody, but that is a really good one. And Harry Potter too. Any specific Harry Potter, or just
I
Harry
think
Potter?
just the classic. Yeah, I think like the classic theme tune.
Yeah.
But I mean, like Pirates of the Caribbean. I mean, also we used to watch The Gladiator loads when I was a kid because my brother loved the soundtrack to that. So that's like fully in my head as well. And I've watched The Gladiator over like 30 times
That movie
when I
is
was a kid.
that movie is crazy. Yeah, I used to watch that a lot too. The movie is crazy
Yeah,
good. That movie
yeah,
is just insanely,
classic.
insanely good. And then I got
Yeah,
into Stoicism, and
yeah.
Marcus Aurelius's son is that evil emperor,
That. Oh
which is
yes.
crazy. Like the son of Stoicism became
Yeah.
like this super like cruel. Yeah, just like
That's
yeah.
so cool, isn't it? That's so cool. Yeah, I mean, like at the end of the day, music is so powerful. Like, where would we be without it? Think of all the moments where music is so prominent. Walking down the aisle, funerals, dancing your first dance as a married couple. Those are just like a few examples, but music is just like, this is why everybody, you need to pay the musicians what they're worth. Because without, music is the soundtrack to our lives, literally is. There's a song that takes everybody back to a certain moment easily, just like when you smell a certain smell, it can take you back. Music does that too, and it's incredible. Like, oh man, yeah, music's just awesome. I love it.
Wow. I don't think I could end it on a better note. That is amazing. Emily Faye, thank you so much for
Thank
being on the High
you.
Note
Thanks so much for
podcast.
having me. Thank you.
I don't think anyone wants to hear about football/soccer.
Oh man, I'm stoked. I'm in the parking lot of a 7-Eleven in El Cajon, California. Man, these are great questions.
I think the answers are probably better.